It's a hard journey being a mum, but it's the most rewarding one. And, to be feeling the best that you can, you're going to have a better journey.
Once your babies are in your life, it's instant love straight away. So it's unconditional love as soon as you meet them. So, it's just part of your life. I can't imagine life without my kids now.
You don't get much time for yourself, but at the same time, it's one of the most rewarding things that's ever happened to me.
We've all dabbled in something, one or the other, depending on what age. I've drank, I've smoked, I've done the cigarettes, I've smoked Yandi.
I was a heavy drinker before I was pregnant, so I already did have a few drinks before I found out I was pregnant, so I felt real guilty and like something bad's going to happen. But my body just rejected it because it just made me sick, the feeling of, making a baby, charge it up.
I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 6 months pregnant, and for 4 years before I found out I was pregnant, I was a very high ice user, 0.5 gram a week minimum. I smoked chuff at least a quarter a week, and I smoked about a deck of ciggies a day.
I smoked with my first 3 children because I didn't realise the dangers. So my first 3 children were all smaller, all had breathing difficulties.
To calm myself down and everything, I used to smoke Yandi. But when I was pregnant, I was feeling more guilty smoking.
If you're unlucky like me and don't find out till late in the pregnancy, sometimes there is nothing you can do, but it's still better to quit as soon as you find out so that at least I'm giving my baby the best chance I can give them.
We know that all forms of smoking, drugs and alcohol can be dangerous during pregnancy. Everything that you take in when you're pregnant does go through to the baby.
I just think if you're drinking, your baby's drinking too. And same if you're drugging, the same thing. What you get, your baby gets.
All of the drugs affect your baby by impacting on the growth of your baby. These babies are often not as healthy, and very often they're born early as well, which can have a lot of problems down the track.
It can lead to miscarriage, it can lead to a small for dates baby, it can lead to educational issues where the baby just doesn't thrive.
We don't always know what the impact of combining different drugs are, and it basically just increases the risk to your baby.
Some drugs we suggest you give up. But some drugs, in fact, we don't want you to go cold turkey because the baby then has to withdraw as well.
Yeah, I've seen a baby that's had, restless sleep at nights and didn't know why the baby kept crying and that until the auntie said, had withdrawals.
Sometimes you don't see the side effects until past the 6 weeks postnatal.
Many of these children go on to have problems with chest infections, and we also have many children in the community that have problems at school with learning difficulties.
If you are unable to care for those babies' needs throughout the night and during the day because you're drug affected, your baby's not going to get the optimum care it needs and the nurturing it needs and the responses it needs.
We've had babies that have had mothers who've been taking very strong drugs, who have, got quite severe physical and mental handicaps.
Just think, do you want to risk being that one lucky one that nothing happens to your baby, or do you want to take the measures to make sure, okay, at least I did all I could do?
Get help. I think it's almost impossible to stop using drugs and alcohol on your own.
The only way you're going to get help is by letting somebody know, and that's your first step, asking for help.
There's so many organisations for our mob that can go and say, I think I need to try and cut down, or I need to quit.
Always go to your local Koori co-op, wherever you are, and ask for a woman worker, ask for a woman health worker, or ask for a maternal nurse, or a KMS worker, because if they're there, they will help you and they will have a yarn to you and help you the best way they can.
When you're going to these services, there's no judgment.
The Aboriginal liaisons are there for you guys, you know. We're there to be culturally respectful for you and make sure that everyone at the hospitals are respectful for your needs.
Don't hold anything back. If you do got something to say, tell them. If you do have a drug problem, you do have an alcohol problem, don't be ashamed and just tell them.
They can't help you if you're not willing to tell them the full story.
We are going to ask you about your drug and alcohol and cigarette use. And I know sometimes you can feel shame about talking about that because people feel like they're being judged. But the reason we ask is because if we know what's going on and we can have an open and trusting relationship, we can really support you through your pregnancy and support you to reduce or quit using those substances.
Anything you ask isn't silly. That's what most crews think they're asking a dumb or silly question, and we're not. No question's silly in the medical world, really.
I know it's going to be a bit shame, but in the long run, you won't see it as something embarrassing at all. You'll be very proud of yourself.
Just talk up and you'll get help from people you wouldn't even expect it from.
Your Aboriginal health worker is a really good starting point, and lots of those women have got really good information. You can also talk to your midwife. Talking to your GP as well is a good source of information, and also the people at the hospital.
We can all work together to help you, so please tell us what your stresses are, if you are using non-prescription drugs, but we also need to know if you're using prescription drugs, because there are some tablets that are fantastic but they are not good while you're pregnant.
There's so much good help available. There's counselling, there are programs. Even talking to one person could help.
The services that really helped me was the Healthy Lifestyle team at VARS, but really it was the Quit line. They have good Aboriginal workers that understand like the community, and you're dealing with pressures, and so they're not really judgmental. They're just there to support you.
Getting pregnant was a real turning point in my life, and that was the time that I really decided that I had to clean up my act a bit because I was now responsible for this baby growing inside me, and I wanted to give him the best possible chance at life.
The day I found out I was pregnant, I didn't touch ice again. I still haven't to this day, so I'm just over 2 years clean now. I still do get the cravings for it, but I'm a bit of a stubborn hard head, which a lot of us black women are, so I've sort of put my foot down and it wasn't happening.
I also had to give up going to places where I used to smoke. I stopped drinking coffee because those two things went together for me.
You just got to be strong-willed about it. Yeah, that's how I was. People knew not to, can't have a charge, have one, you know, get conned up. No. They all just knew I don't drink when I'm pregnant, and that's it.
Knowledge and support at that time was what helped me.
If I talk about myself and when I stopped smoking Yandy, you know, I was in my early 20s and I was in a silly relationship, you know, had lots of bad distractions around me. But I had to take myself out of that environment and, you know, and move back home to, you know, my country to give me the courage to quit, because it's hard to quit when everyone else around you is doing it and if no one's there to support you.
I'd hang around a family that didn't drink, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't go to a house where I know they're going to be drinking. I didn't put myself in that environment.
Get with positive, supportive people who are hopeful, and I think that'll help.
Which in my case I had a strong sister girl who was there for me. Yeah. If she wasn't, it would have been horrible. To get stronger within yourself, I need to go back home and be around my grassroots people, and that's what strengthens me. Go home and strengthen up, go back to land, go back to the bush. People don't realise, but it helps you heaps.
Some women find that if they're maybe having cravings, they're trying to cut down on cigarettes, that going outside for a walk in the fresh air, going for a walk in the path is just a good way of distracting yourself.
Locally, there's so much that, you can reach out to, from joining a gym to joining a sporting group, or just going for a walk.
Really focusing on trying to have healthy food at home, so making sure you've got fruit and nuts so that if you're feeling cravings for whatever it is, you've got things there that are healthy for you and for your baby that you can eat.
Baked beans on toast with a glass of milk, or even, a Milo milkshake is a lot healthier than Macca's or KFC, and the importance of having some meal that has some protein in it with some vegetables. A toasted cheese sandwich can be a reasonable meal if you follow it with an apple.
Drinking water is a really good strategy, and that just helps your body to flush out lots of toxins as well.
Alternative things I did to help me reduce and then quit. Firstly, eating. It's gets you a bit fat, but at least you're not doing other things. But then I got real into the exercise. It's something to do. It keeps your mind off things and you're doing vigorous activities, so you get real into it. And if you go with a certain cousin that you got that competitive streak with, it's just like you're little kids again and trying to beat each other to the finish line, so it's a bit fun.
Sport was my, if you want to say, saviour, but, I enjoyed coming back home and getting back into hockey and, being active.
I love darts, and you don't have to drink to play darts, even though it's a pub sport.
The main one I found that helped was doing yoga. It really does relax you and helps you to think and just focus and centre.
It's purely up to you, yourself. If you're going to drink, you're going to drink. If you're going to smoke, you're going to smoke. You just got to learn to say no, and you're just making a decision for two, not one.
Taking that choice and that first step, after you do it the first time, it's a lot easier the second time, and you're a lot like, oh, I can do this, I can. It reassures yourself.
Now I don't smoke Yandi. It's been stress-free. I've got more control of my life and where I'm going with me and my boys for the future.
I feel very, very lucky that I got to have a healthy baby, considering 6 months of ice, marijuana, smoking made me happy to ways that I can't explain. Just happy and proud and thankful.
It's really great if we get dads who are on the team and they're there to support mums at home through their pregnancy journey.
My other half was very supportive. He was a good dad. I wouldn't have went 3 times if he wasn't. So I was very happy that, and he was hands-on. Don't be ashamed to be, hands-on and ask questions about it, because, it's your baby growing too.
A lot of the dads that we see will actually come to the childbirth education classes as well, and that's fantastic because they hear about breastfeeding, they hear about what to expect in the labour.
If the fathers of the kids are watching, it's a lot more helpful if you quit with the missus, because it's hard enough craving, let alone craving and having your boyfriend do it at the same time. It's not that nice.
As for mum, it can be a really great opportunity for dad to sort of look at some of those areas in their lives and think about how they might cut down as well, and that's a way of supporting their own health for the new family that they're creating.
If she's trying to quit smoking, you find out too what are the ways to help them quit smoking. So if she's having a breakdown and saying, nah, I just need a smoke, you have suggestions like, oh, why don't you go for a walk instead, or here, I'll make you a cup of tea and that'll soothe you, or something.
Being able to assist her with eating a healthy diet and getting enough sleep at night, doing some exercise, can be really useful for mum in putting those measures in place so she doesn't feel like she's trying to do this on her own.
We're actually holding them in our belly for 9 months and they're growing in us, so if we're not right, our baby's not going to be right. So look after your woman the best way you can, because you're looking after your baby too.
It's a hard road, but it's possible. You will find people out there that are looking to give their support and looking to give you help. There's always other people in the community that have been in the exact same situation as you, and they'll have their arms wide open to help you and tell their story and be completely honest with you.
I've seen some clients who've had the most amazing outcomes, who've gotten pregnant, they've been smoking, drinking, using ice, living on the streets, and they've really been able to use this as an opportunity to turn their life around.
If you can give up, you can be really proud that you give your baby the best possible start in life.
I would really encourage you to find someone that you trust and go and have a yarn to them and tell them what's really going on. And we're there to support you and help you.
The sooner you come into the hospital and get your antenatal care and go back into community and see the local midwives, you're going to have a beautiful Boorai at the end of it.
You may do it by yourself, you may do it with a lot of help, but the key factor is that you did it. No one else can make you do it, and that will make you feel so strong, so independent, and so proud of yourself in the long run.
Your body is the temple, and you got to look after it. And your baby inside you that is growing, you got to look after. If you want the baby to come out healthy and strong, you got to be healthy and strong.
You just think about your healthy baby, the beautiful eyes, the nice, perfectly normal arms and legs, and chubby little face, and you just think, wow, that's what you're giving up for, that beautiful baby that's going to come.